Hello again and welcome to another episode of Smarter by the Shift, where we've been talking about intelligent systems in the warehouse and how they can help to bring efficiency to your operations. Now, we're here again with Bill. Bill, thanks again for joining me, and let's kind of start from the beginning again and explain what we mean by intelligent systems in the warehouse and how they can bring efficiency to your operations.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. Yeah, I think that traditionally a warehouse, we have systems which were not super intelligent. They're very static in how they operate. Maybe they use, smaller data sets, but their business logic and their rules on how they operate was just kind of built over time, right? And I think what we're finding is that we need systems now that have this layer of smarts, intelligence, if you will, around where it can be much more dynamic in its decision-making process. So as things are happening real time, it can interact with the workers, it can understand the data sets, it can use things like machine learning over time, where it's learning, how the workers are operating. It's understanding how they are doing their jobs, at what pace they can do those jobs, and taking all of that data and using it to make those smarter decisions. So I think when you look at machine learning, you look at artificial intelligence and how do you build that into the system, especially the warehouse, I think it's really focused on how can it do a better job of helping them plan and helping them execute on their work.
Okay, great. Yeah, we've talked initially in a couple of our first videos about how AI and how machine learning and intelligent systems can help when it comes to things like slotting, travel optimization, order prioritization, things like that. Let's talk a little bit about the traditional process of pallets and how intelligent systems can really bring some efficiency and optimization in a couple of different ways. Let's start, I guess, by the whole building idea of pallets, right?
Sure, yeah. So I think that when we look at pallets, traditionally, pallet building has been kind of done by tribal knowledge, right? It's knowing what your products are, it's knowing the dimensions of the products, it's knowing, the intricacies of what a customer wants in when a pallet is delivered to them, to know how to build that pallet. And oftentimes that's done at the shipping dock, or it's done in an order consolidation area, right, by the workers. Now, what we're seeing is that there's a much greater need to have systems who have all of that kind of tribal knowledge now built into an intelligence layer in the system. So using data, using product dimensions, using item attributes like base items and crushability, how can I then take that to determine how to sequence the work, to sequence the picks and the activities that need to happen so I can build a better pallet as I'm moving the product through the warehouse and getting it finally to that shipping dock for loading. So I think that when you look at what we've worked on from pallet building, it's taking those external types of inputs and systems like route stop planning, pallet building algorithms, and plans, if you will, from different customers, and how do you incorporate that in to make it more intelligent real time to tell the worker how they should be sequencing their work, how to group that work together into assignments for them to execute on.
Right, and that starts even from when the first pick happens, right? Not only if it's just a one assignment in general, but what if you're picking to multi-store, multi-pallets, things of that nature? How can you bring optimization to that now with some of the intelligence that's out there?
Yeah, so I think when you look at building work assignments and how you're deciding what units of work you have available and how you're going to give them to any one worker and sequence that work, right? So I think there's a number of factors that come into play here, right? So there's just sequencing the picks, if you're case picking to a pallet, how do you, optimize the travel path? How do you do certain things to build that pallet? But then if you have the ability with equipment to be able to pick 2 or 3 pallets at the same time, which we do have with a number of our customers in different industries, it's kind of thinking about, well, I can pick 2 or 3 pallets for the same customer, same order. But what if I could pick 2 or 3 pallets for different stores or different customers? What kind of travel and productivity optimization could I achieve by allowing the system to do those types of things? And I think what we have found is that, that really opens up a lot of productivity, labor savings, accuracy. We're getting able to meet cutoff times much more efficiently than we could if you were kind of stuck in that pick one pallet at a time type of mentality, or not having that level of optimization and very static sequencing, to do your work. It's not very reactive, and it's not very, doesn't allow for when disruptions happen to kind of change on a dime.
Right. So it's amazing to see then how so many of these intelligent systems are making the even the most traditional sorts of operations like pallet building move into sort of a higher level of efficiency and optimization. So great example, Bill. I appreciate you coming here and sharing that with us as well. And look for us again to be doing more Smarter by the Shift videos where we talk a little bit more about traditional methods in the warehouse and how they're being optimized through intelligent systems. Thanks for joining us.